President Obama says he has a deal with Iran over its nuclear program, but the supreme leader of Iran disagrees. He says the White House isn't telling the truth about the plan.
And the defense minister of Israel has a warning. He says the deal would make war more likely. George Thomas brings the story.
The highly touted nuclear deal just hit a major stumbling block. Iran's supreme religious leader and the man who calls all the shots in this hardline Islamic country. On Thursday, in Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's first public comments about the nuclear negotiations, he accused the White House of lying, being deceptive, and having, quote, devilish intentions about his country.
The other party, who is stubborn, treacherous, and hard to deal with, and is known to be after trickery, after haggling, after stabbing others in the back, and so on, may want to encircle our nation and our negotiators with limits when it comes to discussing the details.
And according to him, those details are not a done deal.
Some people congratulate me, or others, on the framework deal, but this is meaningless. What congratulations? What has happened so far neither guarantees a deal or talks leading to a deal.
Khamenei said any supervision measures over his country's nuclear activities are out of the question. He also ruled out any inspection of Iran's military sites. Iran's president echoed similar sentiment, saying they will not sign a deal unless all sanctions are lifted immediately.
We will not sign any agreement unless all economic sanctions are lifted at once, on the very first day of the implementation of the agreement.
Those comments contradict Washington's position, insisting sanctions will be gradually lifted, depending on Iran's full compliance. Meanwhile, The Telegraph reports Iran has formed a top-secret team to infiltrate the International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN body that will inspect Iran's nuclear sites to try and hide more of its nuclear activities. The Islamic Republic has for years hidden key nuclear facilities from inspectors. Israel, weary of any deal that would keep Iran's nuclear facilities intact, is again warning of serious consequences. In a Washington Post op-ed piece, Israel's defense minister writes, "Our opposition to a deal based on the framework is not because we seek war, but because the terms of the framework, which will leave an unreformed Iran stronger, richer, and with a clear path to a bomb, make war more likely." The U.S., along with 5 other world powers, have until June 30th to come up with a final deal on Iran's nuclear program. George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, the real power in Iran has finally flexed his muscle, and he's come out and said he's neither for the deal or against the deal, but in all of this rhetoric, he's reasserting that America is the great Satan, and can you really negotiate with someone who has that belief? For me, the real problem with this deal is it doesn't address at all Iran's ballistic missile program. The only reason in today's world you would want a ballistic missile program is to put a warhead on top of it and then target your enemy, and in this case, it would be Israel. So we need to be listening to what Israel is telling us about this deal and how it's more likely than not it will lead to war. In other news, a massive storm system is moving east today after causing terrible damage in the Midwest. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. Supercell thunderstorms produced a huge tornado in Illinois, striking different parts of the state. It killed a 67-year-old woman and injured 7 others in a small town in northern Illinois.
He's over! He's over! Go! Go! Go!
Here is a look at that massive tornado. It devastated the small town of Fairdale, about 80 miles northwest of Chicago. Around 200 people lived there, and they were all forced from their homes. Every building in the town sustained damage, and many were destroyed.
Obviously, there's lots of debris out there. There's some houses that were just basically pushed into a big pile.
The tornado also touched down in Rochelle, a small town about an hour-and-a-half southwest of Chicago. One woman said she'd lived there 18 years, but had never seen a tornado that big or stay on the ground that long. Operation Blessing is on the ground providing assistance in Illinois. Teams are partnering with the Rockford First Assembly of God Church in Rochelle. When disaster strikes, Operation Blessing strikes back. And you can help by sending a contribution to Operation Blessing at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463, or you can call 1-800-759-0700 or log on to cbn.com. The small-town Indiana pizzeria that closed after its owner expressed support for the state's religious freedom law is again open for business. Memories Pizza owner Kevin O'Connor says within an hour of opening, they were full and had a line of customers waiting for carryout orders. The pizzeria closed down after receiving threats for saying they serve gay customers but wouldn't cater a same-sex wedding. Supporters organized a website where people could offer donations to help the owners. It raised more than $800,000. O'Connor says he'll use some of the share to make improvements and donate some of it to charity. Well, President Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro will sit down together today at a historic summit of American countries in Panama. It will be the highest level meeting between the U.S. and Cuba in more than half a century since 1958, a year before Fidel Castro took over. Secretary of State John Kerry and Cuba's foreign minister met in Panama last night ahead of today's summit. President Obama and Castro will be among the more than 30 presidents attending. Well, poor and unschooled children in Indonesia are getting a free education thanks to CBN. Not only are the kids learning to read and write, they're also being taught godly values. Lucille Talusan brings us that story.
Rini was in 8th grade when she stopped going to school. Her parents did not have the money to pay for her education. Other children residing in this poor community near Jakarta had a similar experience. Unschooled, they lived without purpose. CBN social workers in Indonesia responded by establishing a school that gives free education to children like Rini and her friends.
At first, I was not really interested in studying. I was lazy and rebellious. But my father ordered me to go back to school. And now, I like coming to this school because aside from the regular subjects, I enjoy learning different skills.
Here, the students are taught how to make the design on the batik, which is the material used to make Indonesian traditional clothes. And this is a skill taught to the students to empower them and to help them earn a living.
Kindergarten students learned values by watching Superbook. Bobby Gafour is the head of the CBN school.
95% are Muslim students. Every race, every ethnic, and every religion, they can come to our school. The way we reconcile about the religion, we just teach them about the Christian values.
Parents like Maria are happy with their children's development.
My son's behavior has improved. He can now be friends with everybody. He tells me there's this good guy, Isa Almasi. He can heal. He can make people see.
Maria was inspired by her son's words. Though a Muslim, she asked the school staff to pray that the lump in her breast would disappear.
I am very happy that they can pray for my healing. Prayer is an expression of love. Thank you for your help and encouragement.
The school is helping to transform the hearts and minds of the students.
I am very satisfied with how they are helping my daughter. Before, she did not help me, but now her behavior is changed. I am very happy that she is able to continue her studies because all her older siblings did not even reach high school.
I came from nothing and now I can learn about anything. I also learned how to dream, to become a doctor someday. Thank you too for teaching me about Jesus because right now I know him well.
And with the right foundation, the future of these young people now looks very promising. Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Jakarta.
What a remarkable story. Gordon, I love the part where she said she's not only learning her lessons, she's learning how to dream.
That's a wonderful story, and it's a wonderful work made possible because people are members of the 700 Club. So if you're a member, thank you, and thank you for what you've done.